No Jackson Dart love, says Calvin Shepard. Do you have an opinion on Jackson Dart? I have an opinion on most of these quarterbacks. Dart, I don't really yet. He could go first round. A lot are saying Jets make the playoffs before the Dolphins win a playoff game, to your question. So that's here in the chat. The Sportsman. Tua gets too much hate. He's always hurt. Haven't seen him where it matters most. But you don't see him where it matters most because he was, well, you saw him in the playoffs. How'd he do?
Who's that?
Tua.
I mean, yeah, he was okay in that Kansas City game. He was okay.
Yeah.
He didn't play in the Bills game. It was Skylar Thompson.
That was the one that he got away with it because the game was mostly over. But I think it was like down 18 with 6 minutes left, 4th and 15, and he checked it down. Like, I just want to get out of here.
11,000 capacity at Steinbrenner Field. 11,000. That's where the Blue Jays are playing. The Rays are playing all of their home games this year.
How different is that from
16,000 at Salem?
Wow. They could have had more. They could have had more here.
Mm-hmm.
They would have had to been, halfway across the country and playing in 40 degrees during the spring. Let's see. What else is going on in the chat, in the bullpen right now? They're talking about reading and how they read because I've mentioned bringing a book to the game today. I don't think it's not crazy at all. You play around on your phone between pitches and between innings. Why not just, have Moneyball ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Which was my book of choice for the month of March. When's the last time you saw Major League?
Ooh, actually it was on not too long ago, but I was with Max at home, so I didn't want to watch it because it's not appropriate for his age. So I didn't keep it on.
Yeah. Major League is one of my favorite movies, like pre-1990. Not that I would be the expert on that topic. So anyways, the bullpen, ladies and gentlemen.
So Ovechkin is going to break Gretzky's record at some point here.
Yep.
What's interesting is they only have, I think, 10 games remaining. Got to count.
They have
maybe 9. Go to the Capital schedule. Starts with the Sabres.
They have played on the season as they are number 1 in the NHL, by the way. 72 games. They have 10
games left.
10 games left.
He needs 6 goals. His last 6 goals that he scored came over a 12-game span. He might not do this until October.
Right.
Right? By the way, so I've been thinking about him. I've been thinking about Gretzky a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many regular season games separate Gretzky and Ovechkin?
Games played?
Games played. Total regular season games. And by the way, I didn't realize how many people didn't know that playoff goals do not count. But people have been tweeting me this.
Playoff goals don't count.
It's a regular season record, just like all records in sports are regular season records.
I hope Capitals fans know that too. Like, imagine last game of the year, he's 1 goal away, and he doesn't get it, and then he scores in the first playoff game. Are there going to be Capitals fans that think he just broke the record?
I hope not.
Why is nobody celebrating?
I know.
Playoff goals don't count. I would bet that Ovechkin's played more.
Incorrect.
It is Gretzky more.
It is Gretzky more.
I know Gretzky had some injuries at the end of his career, right?
But Ovechkin also had lockouts.
Ovechkin had lockouts, and he missed games due to COVID, right? The COVID season got shut down.
Did Gretzky play through 39, 40 years old? I don't think he did.
Gretzky retired at, I think, 37 is the number in my mind with the Rangers.
Okay, Wayne Gretzky.
So Gretzky has played more.
I'm going to tell you, he's only played. It's literally a 5-game difference. That's it.
Oh, so
5.
Literally,
they played pretty much the exact same amount. In the next couple weeks, he will pass him in games played. Ovechkin, right?
Right.
So he's 6 goals away from breaking the record. And as always is pointed out, look, Gretzky, he played in the 80s. You've seen it, Joe. We talked about it.
Yep.
The goalies were flopping. They weren't going down. They were flopping around because they couldn't stand up half the time, it seemed like.
Yeah.
The pads were smaller, right?
Yep.
I get it. It was easier to score. I do want to point out, Gretzky played in an era you could not pass the puck over 2 lines. Okay?
That's true.
And he also played in much smaller rinks sometimes than we have now. Mm-hmm. The Aud was smaller. Boston Garden was smaller. There was no uniform rink size until later.
Right.
Like I think that there's a little too much of Gretzky just played in this era where it was everybody scoring.
Yeah.
I also want to give him credit for being able to score in an era where it was also a tougher in some other ways.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It doesn't overrate or come over top of the goalie point, though, in my opinion. But it is a worthy one, that like two-line pass especially. I can't believe that rule ever existed.
I know. It's unbelievable.
I can't. It's on Crosby. Crosby really annoyed me like a year ago when, like, one of these All-Star Game questions, like, oh, what's a change to the game you might like to see? And everyone had like a fun answer, no one took it too seriously. And Crosby sat there and said, I'd like to bring the two-line pass back.
Oh my God.
Like, Sid, dude, you're the face of the league. Do not say they should bring the two-line pass back. That rule was horrific. I'm glad I didn't grow up really watching that rule. I mean, I was 10 when they got rid of it.
Well, Pablo says in the chat the two-line pass was not that big a deal. But it definitely impacted how you played the game. You couldn't get a guy stretching down the ice. I can't go back and see how many goals Ovechkin or Gretzky has had on a two-line pass, Ovechkin, but it was a different kind of game.
Remember when
you had to play a half a rink, basically.
Remember when Dahlin threw that Hail Mary pass to Cousins on Ryan Miller night in overtime? Like all the way across the ice? That wouldn't have counted.
That's right.
That would have been a penalty. There would have been a whistle. Right? It would have been a whistle. Yeah, no. The other thing I was looking at between these two the other day, when Gretzky broke Gordie Howe's record, he was, I think I saw 33 years old.
Oh, wow.
Like, Gretzky, one thing that allows Ovechkin the opportunity to even break this record is Gretzky slowed down.
Yep.
He slowed down at the end. He scores 38 goals in 93-98. And then after that, it's 11, 23, 15, 25, 23, 9. Whereas Ovechkin is still out here on 50-goal paces at 39 years old. So he has, and that could be the era too, right? That is sports science allowing people to play longer, and
he still led the league.
The game probably isn't as physical as it was then, obviously.
Gretzky still led the league in assists at age 36 and 37.
All right, he was still doing that, I guess. He was still doing that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that is
yes.
See at the. It's mostly true. Gretzky played in an era that it was easier to score. The goalies didn't know what they were doing. The average goals per game was way higher, but not in those last couple of years. When he slowed down, that is the dead puck era. So, for instance, he leads the league in assists. He had 97 points, 96, 97. That's when, am I right on timeline? That's about when the trap is being introduced and goaltending is getting figured out. Hasek has arrived, right? And he's inspiring a bunch of goalies to play the position differently. So maybe the last couple of years when Gretzky isn't scoring goals, it was harder to score. Probably even than it is right now.
I'm looking at his, I always say it, if you go to his reference page and see all the emboldened assists and points, it's unbelievable.
His whole page is bold, which means at Hockey Reference that you led the league in that category.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. Him breaking the record is going to be, I think, for me, the coolest record I've ever seen broken in sports. LeBron beating the all-time points record, and Brady and Breeze going back and forth on the all-time passing records, and this one, to me, hits different because it's one that not everybody thought, or maybe most thought would never be broken. Everyone assumed the passing record would go down one day. The way the league was tracking, the passing record was going to go down. The NBA scoring record, the way scoring is up, three-pointers are up in the NBA, maybe LeBron wouldn't have done it. I think most thought that record's going down. This record was supposedly unbreakable because of the era differences and whatnot. So to me, it's the coolest one that's going to get broken.
I mean, yeah. I know we got to go to break here. If you look at the NHL all-time leaders in points in a season, okay, it goes Gretzky, 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 Lemieux, Gretzky, Gretzky, Lemieux, Gretzky, 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 Lemieux, Lemieux.
It's incredible.
It's amazing.
3 out of 4 years, he had 200 points.
Yeah.
92 in a season. That one's
goals.
That one is never getting touched. 212 is never getting touched. His assist record and point record is never getting touched. Yeah. This was the only Gretzky record that could have gone down. Right? There's no other one.
No one's ever touching the assist record, right? I mean, come on.
Oh no. None of his other records are anyone's coming near. But this was the one.
Yep.
If he doesn't do it this year, he will do it at the beginning of next year.
He'll be doing it at the beginning of next year. We don't have the schedule out yet.
No, they can. I've said this. They can manufacture the right matchup that they want. I don't know the NHL. You should trust them to do that.
Well, they already have the right matchup for him doing it this year. Maybe unintentionally. They're playing Sid in that rivalry with the Penguins the last game of the year.
In Pittsburgh, though.
Yes.
Which would be kind of funny if he did it in Pittsburgh, the home of his rival of his career. Extendo Sports, when we come back, we'll wrap things up.